Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to the channel. I'm going to apologize right up front for the lack of footage today. And also, if you would please, go right down in the lower right hand corner and hit that subscribe button. Anyway, everything is back together. I had my first test drive with the truck today. Clutch is awesome. It is the first dual disc that I've ever driven, so imagine my surprise when I let out on the clutch for the very first time, especially after driving the Ranger for the past 5 or 6 weeks. That's a 5-speed also. My truck is a 6-speed. With the Ranger, you got to keep the RPMs up when you're shifting gears on that. With my truck, it's got enough low and grunt, you just kind of shift gears and go through them. Anyway, everything turned out really good with powder coat, except for my valve cover. Had some issues with that. Been dealing with that pretty much all week, so this week's kind of been the week from hell, I guess you could pretty much say. Well, you've saw the compressor cover. You have not saw that, and you have saw that. Everything turned out really well, but as you can tell, the valve cover is just black. And then I sanded the high spots off on them lines there. It doesn't look bad, but it's not the look that I was trying to achieve. I wanted the valve cover the same color as everything else, and then all these high spots, I was going to do those in red to match this. So, I'm sorry. The valve cover was going to be red to match all of this, and then these high spots were going to be black. That did not happen. They called me this morning. They've been trying to get this valve cover done all week long. They kept having what's called static blisters. This powder coat's new to me. I've never done it, nor have I had any of it done. I guess static blisters is like some impurities in the aluminum, or maybe because the truck's got 200,000 miles on it, and you know, it soaked up a lot of oil. So anyway, couldn't get it done. They called me this morning, said when they went to strip everything back off to redo it because they were going to try a different base. This is something else I didn't know. The color that I picked out, this red, is a translucent color. So what that means is like painting candy. So it gets a silver or a chrome base, and then it gets this translucent red put over top of it, and that's where it gets the color. The color is perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. Everything turned out awesome, except for the valve cover. When they called this morning, they had it in a chemical bath, I guess one too many times, and it ate holes completely through it. So they did take care of me very well. They give me back all my money that I paid for having the valve cover coated, plus they bought me a new valve cover. You know, luckily enough that I have a friend that has a diesel shop just east of town. I called him this morning and he had one on the shelf. So I was able to pick that up, and they purchased that for me. So all is well. Still going to be doing my exhaust manifold. Sorry, it's getting dark here. Waiting on hardware for that to get rid of all these spacers. I'm going with a ARP stainless steel stud with 12-point stainless steel nuts. They're sending those out to me. Those should be here maybe Wednesday. I'm going to get those put on and see how it goes. Eventually, I should have a part number for those because they're going to package them in 12 and sell them for this application. So they just want to know how things go. I told them I'll have no problem trying out. I purchased them, and I'll let them know how everything goes. Also, another thing, pre-common rail do not have the 3/16 holes in the side of the block for the fleece bypass hose, so I wasn't able to utilize those eyelets. But when you put the 3-piece on, you have no place to put your radiator hose, your heater core hose bracket. So that is actually supposed to have about a 1 inch by 1 inch by 2 inches long piece of angle iron to remount that too. So when I do that, I'll take one of those eyelets and mount it right there and keep that hose up and out of the way from things. Another thing that I like to do is when I'm filling this, I backfill the engine just to try and keep from having a numerous amount of vapor locks. And what I mean by backfilling, since I had this housing off, I had the thermostat out, I started filling the engine with radiator fluid here instead of putting it in the radiator and letting it cycle through. This way the engine was almost full, and then I finished filling it up here and then squeeze my hoses to try and get all the airlocks out. So vapor locks, airlocks, however you want to call them. So that's another little tip or trick that you can do to get that stuff out of there. The only hiccup I had with the first test drive was I forgot to put on my crankcase breather. So I had oil everywhere up front because it was blowing out of there. Then my fan was scattering it. So I need to hit the front of the engine with some degreaser and get that taken care of. Crankcase breather. I can get rid of it. I'm going to get rid of it and then just put a cap on there or a plug, whatever you want to call it, like it's on the common rails that's running a CP3. And then Pure Diesel Power makes a cap that's vented, or you can go to SB Filters and get a venting system for the common rail where you just drill a hole in the side of the valve cover, and then it's got a rubber elbow, or it has a nipple that sticks out and a rubber elbow with a vent there. Or if you so choose, you want to spend a little bit more money and take your VP out, you can get a billet tappet cover with vents in it there. So just little hints and word of advice to everybody who watches this that wants to get rid of that like I do. It'll just clean it up, make it look nicer. Plan is to, when I take my exhaust manifold off, is to paint the rest of the engine, move things, mask things off, whatever I need to do is get the rest of it painted black. And then also, maybe next year, I'm going to take off my timing cover and get that powder coated in this same color here is red. And then I'm going to switch it all over to stainless Allen head fasteners. So just little things that I'm doing that I want to do just to make it mine. The sump worked out great. Check them out. That's Ohio Diesel parts. They're right around $50–$60. Remember, they do not come with a hole saw though, so that's something you're either going to have to borrow or buy. But for that kind of money, and that's why they do sell them cheaper, is because they don't provide you with a hole saw. A lot of people may have that, may not. It does not leak. It works out good. I did have to remember, if you have your fast or your air dog out, you need to bleed that system again. And the way that worked is, on the fast, that's plugged into, that pump is plugged into my factory harness, lift pump harness. So when you first initially turn your ignition on, it'll run for 5 seconds and then shut off. But if you bump your ignition, it'll run for 20 seconds, jump out, loosen your filter up, and you'll be able to, it's a distinct sound on, when your fast or your air dog is actually bled out and ready to run. So truck fired right up, drove amazingly well. I missed it. It was great to have it back, other than smearing oil all over the front of it. So let's see, I got my head tore apart tomorrow. I may video that. I'm not certain. I don't know if anybody, a lot of my mower videos don't get watched very much, so leave a comment below if you want to see it. I'll do it. I have it tore apart, get everything smoothed out as far as the deck surface here. Took the valves out. These springs, you can pretty much compress those by hand and then just use a magnet and take the keepers out. Right here are the keepers. You got one on each side, just like I had showed you before. That's the intake side. You can see how that valve is bent. And then here's my exhaust side. I'm going to be using this exhaust valve and that intake valve. And then what you're going to want to do, you got to lap those back in place. This exhaust valve probably won't need lap since I'm using it again, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. And you're going to want to pick up some valve grinding compound, and you'll just put a little bit on the edge or smear some on here with your finger, and just sit there. They make a tool. It's a suction cup. You stick it on there and then you twist it. Or I have access I can chuck it up in my drill and just ever so slightly, you know, turn that and get a nice good groove surface war on those and lap those in place. So that is for tomorrow. Don't know much else. Hit up all my links in my description. Got Hot Shots Secret down there. There's specials and promos going on right now. They have some new t-shirts. They got their new oil. This is their new oil here. I should have explained that better. That oil back there that I had on a couple videos back, that's for my mowers that I purchased. This oil here, this is their new oil that they have out that has the FR3 infused. You no longer have to buy that separate. It is still a 5W40 for us cold climate guys. And then it is a diamond full PAO synthetic oil. So I'm going to be trying that out, this oil change. And filters downstairs. I did pick up also some new sway bar end links. When you purchase a Carli suspension system, they utilize your factory hardware. You can see I have the upgraded sway bar end links, and then you can actually see this side here. This one is completely below the washer, so I need to get those replaced and get those fixed. So you just go to your parts store, you pick up the Cummunis or the 2500 Dodge bushings and washers and a nut, and you're good to go with that. So, whoops. I hope that just didn't fall over there and get a hole in it. Nope, it's good. Anyway, also with tomorrow is going to be cleaning all this mess up. Today it was very windy. It blew leaves all in the garage. So once again, guys, I appreciate you watching very much. Hit that like button, give me a thumbs up. Check out all my descriptions, or check out all my links in my description. Stickers in there. You want to support the channel? It'd be awesome. Pick them up, slap them on the back of your vehicle. Support the channel. That's awesome. That's be down there. I believe those are $5 a piece. I got one on the back of my truck I showed you before. Anyway, guys, subscribe if you haven't already done so. We will talk to you later on and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.